All right. So, yeah, my name's Luke. I'm one of the specialty trainees in acute medicine. I also work in intensive care as well. So, our project was basically done at North Tees, which is a district general hospital in the northeast, quite close to Middlesbrough. We've done it on a unit of a 56-bedded unit, so we're quite a big, large footprint unit of acute medicine. And we first decided to look at doing an initial survey to see what are the most important aspects that we felt that we should concentrate on for the modern ward round collaborative. So the initial assessment we can see down there in the bottom left is what we did, what we felt as a team, where we were at that point. And then we sent out a survey to the multidisciplinary team, including consultants down to physios, to the nurse practitioners, and to nursing staff on the ward, to see what they felt. And the overwhelming thing was that we weren't really reviewing priority patients on ward round. So we thought that might be a good thing to look at for our modern ward round collaborative. So how we approach, so how about we can change that? It sounds easy just to suddenly go, well, we should just see all the sick patients and all the early discharges first. But it was kind of a bit of changing the culture of the unit. Very much the culture of the unit was, when you started a ward round, you started at bed 1 and finished at bed 22 kind of culture. So what we had to do first was draft that's the best way of putting it, a very sensitive letter/email to all the clinicians to tell them what our process was and why we wanted to do it and why we think it's important. And then we asked a member of staff. At first, this role has changed over the time period of that, over the last year that we've been doing it for, to identify ones that are potentially early discharges and the sick patients as well. So firstly, it turned out to be one of the registrars on the night shift that would highlight them, but that's changed to, then we changed it to the nurse in charge, but then that's changed again to being one of the progress flow staff members who were there in the morning, who knew about which ones that could be early discharged. We then, once that process was initially put in place, we then, as I've gone through, we gave it a bit of time to put it into place. We then put another little survey out to see how people were feeling about it. And as you see before, there was only about 26% of people actually seeing people on priority ward rounds, so seeing the sick patients and the early discharges first. And we've got that improved to around 78%. So that survey is still ongoing, but that's good numbers to begin with. Clinicians generally felt that it definitely has had a positive impact. They felt they've accomplished more, and that plans were, especially for the sick patients, plans were initiated quicker and acted on quicker, preventing potential deterioration in patients. And also that the consultants felt that discharges were also happening quicker, which is also seen in the graph, which shown that there's been more discharges between the 9 to 5 time when we started it, which was around in September, which improved. Obviously, there's other things it wasn't just our impact in that, there'll be other things as well, but it still shows that it has increased in discharge rate, which is good. Potentially some of the unexpected outcomes for this was that actually more teaching actually happened. So when patients were getting seen, particularly the unwell patients, that it gave the chance to the night team, because they're there for the first hour of the ward round, to actually go with the consultant or the senior clinician and actually review those sick patients. So actually more teaching actually occurred, which was good. Some other boundaries that we had to come across was that it's a very busy unit. Like I said, it's a very big footprint unit, and there's 4 ward rounds going on at once, that the cognitive load on the clinician that's leading the ward round, it can be quite difficult, especially if they're jumping from one place to the next. It can be quite big cognitive load. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way we can try and get around that. We're still trying to figure out some ideas for that. And the other thing was regarding, even though just early discharges were happening quicker, sometimes there was only one junior on the ward round with the person. So when there was an early discharge, said, well, you can do discharge now, the junior couldn't really leave the ward round to go and do the discharge. So when we're thinking about maybe assigning someone during the day when we've got enough staff, which is always an issue, as you can probably imagine, being set aside, that once someone has been decided on the ward round as early discharge, that people on that ward round can continue doing their ward round, and someone else can then start doing the discharge letter. So that's a work in progress, and that's probably what we're going to do in the next few months regarding that. So yeah, I think that's basically where we're at. I think overall we've shown that seeing priority patients early has improved our discharge rates, and it's also improved seeing sick people quicker. And I think it's had a very positive impact on clinicians who were maybe initially kind of against it, but I think that they are seeing that overall that it does improve things.